Sneakers and Cleats, the podcast. Welcome back to the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. This is Friday, December 8th. I'm doing this without notes today, so bear with everybody.
Well, that's not good.
I know. Well, someone's printing out a phone book at the printer right now, so I couldn't print out the one page that I needed for all three of us. So it's fine. I don't know who's printing out the Art of War in our studio.
I think that violates like some sort of work ethic code, some code of ethic.
Yeah,
not
I
like
think it
HR,
does.
but like just, man
Courtesy.
to man, woman to woman.
Yeah, it's like like a golf course rule. Like it's
Right.
one of those things. It's just like it's an unspoken agreement that you don't print out a phone book.
What is the biggest golf course rule? Been a long time
I thought
since
it was like dress code.
like don't wear a Def Leppard concert T-shirt that's got holes in it.
Yeah, well, that also depends on the course. Like if you're at a Muni course or something like that, then
Oh, most
if you're going to TPC San Antonio, then you better have I think it's hats forward at all times. It's you must have. I think you have to wear pants over there. You can't wear shorts.
You're a golfer, yes?
Yes.
Speaking of munis, have you played Brackenridge?
No. Yes, I have actually.
So back in the old days, it was, I don't even know what it is now to play, but in the old days, it was like $20 to get in. It was amazing because it was not super nice, but I loved going with my buddies. You'd play the front nine, you get a hot dog at the turn, maybe a beer, depending on what you had to do the rest of the day, and then you'd come in and you're playing right there alongside 281, and then there's a moment where you just you're seeing the bustle of downtown San Antonio on the highway, and then all of a sudden you become secluded again.
Right.
And it's super, just super scenic. And now, I think it's like, what, is it like $90 to play?
No, it's like 45 to
that's
60,
not bad.
somewhere around there. But it's also, Jonathan and I went over there a couple weeks ago, or maybe a couple months ago, and it was like square greens, and it just threw me off.
Oh.
The greens are literally squares. And I'm like, that's not how
That's weird.
That's not how golf's supposed to be. Anyway, number 58. Episode 58. I don't even know if I said that yet, but
Yeah.
58, the first person that comes to mind for me is Von Miller because, I'm a Bronco fan, obviously. I think he's one of the best 58s of all time. The other ones that I put on there, I think, were Derek Thomas, also a good one.
He's better than Von Miller.
You'll
Thomas
never
is-
get me to say that. But, yeah.
Derek Thomas is better than Von Miller.
Is he?
Oh, of course. Of course. Yes.
Is he though?
Both are pale in
Both are-
comparison to the great Mozzie Smith that the Cowboys drafted this past year.
Okay.
He's also 58.
Let's just jump right into that. Let's just jump right into the Cowboys. The other one I had was Jonathan Papelbon, also a good Red Sox and Phillies closer. Did you know that there's not I was looking it up. There's not an NBA player who's ever worn the number 58.
I didn't know that.
I don't doubt that, but 58 is kind of a weird NBA number.
It is, but so is 77, and Luka's made that popular. So I think 58. I think the next Spur draft pick, whoever that is, some 19-year-old kid from wherever, whether it's the G League or France, he should wear 58.
They'll probably have the first pick in the draft again this year.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
God, they suck. We'll get to that a little later. So first off, let's get to the Cowboys. When I was thinking who I wanted to be on the podcast with me this week, I was like, I know that I have to have David this Friday.
Yeah.
Because this is like this is like Christmas on Sunday, or it could be like the worst birthday present ever.
Well,
it could be like the worst day or the best day.
Weren't you running your mouth like 2 months ago? Dak's awful. Dak. At what point are you going to come on here and be like, guys, I was so wrong. Dak Prescott is amazing.
Have you looked at I'll send you the rundowns from the past couple of weeks, and I'll show you where it says Dak Prescott MVP favorite.
All right. He's not, by the way.
He's the second favorite.
Yeah,
right now.
probably.
Well, no, he is.
Well, I'm not talking about betting and all that. I'm just saying in general in football, and I don't even know if he's second. Is that where you want to start? You want to start with that?
Well, I was going to say if you want to start there, we can start there. If you want to get all these stats against really bad teams, you can.
I don't. Look, you got to play. You got to beat and play. You got to play and beat who's on your schedule. So all this ridiculousness of they haven't beaten anybody. Well,
they haven't.
I know, but they've beaten who they had to beat on their schedule.
They've had opportunity to beat teams.
They've lost 2 games that were crucial, obviously. But
Yes.
guess what? Everybody loses crucial games. Everybody loses crucial games, whether you lose them in the middle of the season or whether you lose them late in the season. 3 weeks ago, the Niners were losing 3 in a row, and it was like, oh, my God, they're the worst thing ever. And all of a sudden, they beat Philly because they got a grudge against them, and it's like they're the greatest thing I've ever seen, which is funny because 2 weeks ago, Philly was the greatest thing I'd ever seen.
Right now, Dallas is the best thing
And
we've
if
ever
Dallas
seen.
wins on Sunday night, Dallas will be the greatest thing that we've ever seen, and that's ridiculous because they still got to go through a gauntlet of a schedule while Philly now gets the cakewalk.
Yeah. So Dak right now should be and is considered one of the MVP favorites. He should be absolutely because the stats prove it out. The Cowboys have been phenomenal in the past 5 weeks. Besides that loss to Philly, and
he was good in that loss.
He was good in the loss. Yeah, he was one of the best players on the field in that loss. And if they win on Sunday, he will be the MVP favorite. Like there is no doubt in my mind. If they win on Sunday and he plays well, he will be the betting favorite at all sports books to win the MVP award.
Listen, you can sort of dive into all the minutia and say this one specific game or this one specific drive or whatever. But if I were to ask you, they're winning this year. They're 9-3 because of what? It's Dak Prescott.
Oh, and their defense.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But it's Dak. Like, there was the other night where I thought, and maybe this changes on a week-to-week basis, but when they were playing Seattle the other night, I thought, just get the ball back to Dak.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to give up the touchdown, give it up now.
Well, I think I said this on, maybe it was Friday last week, maybe it was Monday this week, but at the beginning of the season, I think I was on with you and I said they can't win. They can only win one way. The defense needs to be great and the offense needs to not give it away. Now that's completely different. The offense can have a bad day and the defense can win, and the defense can have a bad day and the offense can win it for them, which is pretty nice to have when at the beginning of the season we weren't sure. We weren't sure if Dak and McCarthy could come in and win a game when their defense is having a bad day. We know that they can now for sure because they did last week.
Yeah.
And they've done that multiple times. Like the defense hasn't had great showings every single week, no matter what the fantasy pundits say when they're looking at their fantasy teams. Their offense is clicking on all cylinders right now, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can win on Sunday because, like I said before, this game is literally everything. This is the season, is this Sunday.
Well, they can win, and I mean, yeah, it feels like that because it's Philly.
They cannot win the division unless they win this weekend. Like they will not win the division.
Well, that's true. So that's true. I think what you're saying right there is true because of who Philly has remaining, but if Dallas wins, they've done anything far from win the division.
No,
they can very well give it right back the next week.
Absolutely. Well, the crazy thing is if Dallas wins and Philly wins, and then each team wins out the rest of the season, Philly still wins the division.
Yeah.
So Philly will still need to lose one more, and the Cowboys will need to somehow win the gauntlet that they have left against the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Commanders, and whoever else they have. But
so here's the issue is you want to avoid how you would really like it. The way I've seen it is you would love for Philly and the Niners to play each other, obviously, in the divisional game before the NFC Championship game. However that would work out.
Yes.
For the obvious reason of, well, yeah, one of them is going to knock the other one out, and you don't have to go through the two.
You also just don't want to play the Niners.
Well, you want to play the Niners as far off as you can, not just because they're great, but because they're so physical. And if you play the Niners in a divisional round and you somehow win, you have been beaten up like crazy, which probably leaves the fact that you'll miss somebody. You'll be missing some starter, some key player when you play Philly the following week. You also want to, because they play the way they play, you also want to play them as late as possible because the way they play, odds are they're going to have an injury. You know Christian McCaffrey is this close to popping a hammy. It's going to happen. It's going to happen between now and the Super Bowl.
Don't put that on
him.
Oh,
100%.
Don't put
him on what?
Don't put that on
Don't put
him.
on Christian. I'm not his. This is football.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Is he your guy?
No, I just.
Oh.
No.
I don't want it to happen. I mean, if Jalen Hurts slipped and did something to his ankle between now and Sunday, I mean, it's just what that would happen.
All right, that's okay.
By the way, I think I've made this very clear over the years, but they are without a doubt. Without a doubt. I hate that franchise. I don't really like the city, but I hate that franchise more than any other sports franchise in the world.
And that's why I needed you here today. But
they're so arrogant, Matt. Their fans are so arrogant.
All right, I need you to tell me the worst story you've had, like with Philly. Whether was it going to Philly that you?
No,
hated?
I mean, listen, Philly's a great city. I've been there a couple of times. Philly was at the center of the greatest work trip I ever had in my life. 2006 or 7, I don't remember. Me and my boy Goose, we went to France, Lyon, France, for a week to cover Spurs training camp, and then we left there, flew into New York, took a train from New York to Philly, and caught the TO return to Philly game for a Sunday night. I mean, that's amazing, right? But it is exactly what you think. You are parking way out. You're walking to the stadium. You're walking through all the tailgating. I'm not wearing a Cowboys jersey or anything. I'm just wearing a suit, but it's somehow those freaks know that you're from Texas, and they
freaks.
I think the fact that it's my childhood is. They are woven into the fabric of my childhood with Harold Carmichael and Ron Jaworski and Dick Vermeil. I mean,
Reggie White.
And then Reggie White later. And Buddy Ryan. Like, I remember vividly the Buddy Bowl and Jimmy saying, get your fat butt out there. And then I think somebody can check me on this. I think they sacked Troy Aikman in that game, that Thanksgiving Day game, 11 times.
Yeah. That was the one more sack game.
And it was like, what are you doing? Anyway, so I hate them.
All right, so putting the hatred aside, if the Cowboys don't win this weekend, they're basically effed in the entire season. And here's why I say that.
All right.
So if they don't win on Sunday, they have basically zero chance to get the 1 seed. And they need to be at home. They need as many games at home as possible, which they've shown because they have an 11-game win or 12-game win streak now at home, whatever it is.
What's the Niners' remaining schedule? Is it as hard as Dallas's?
I can look real quick, but suffice to say, they need to beat Philly this weekend, and they need the Niners or Philly to trip up in the next couple of weeks because they need the 1 seed worse than anybody else in the entire league.
Why do you say that?
Because they're better at home. They're a different team at home than they are on the road.
You mean just because of their home record?
Their home record is better. They play better at home. Their offensive numbers are better at home. Their defensive numbers are better at home. Everything is better at home. Dak is better at home. Why would you want to go to Philly or go to Santa Clara when you can play in a dome in Jerry World with your own fans? It's just that's the most important factor for the Cowboys. And that's why the loss to the Cardinals earlier this season might come back to bite them in the ass, because if Philly and Dallas run the table after assuming Dallas wins this weekend, Philly will have the division. Philly will win the division because of conference record, because their loss was against the Jets out of conference, while the Arizona loss was in conference, and Dallas will lose the division, assuming both of them win out after Dallas wins this weekend. So it's absolutely pivotal. This is the season for the Cowboys on Sunday, and I do not think that's an overstatement.
So the Niners they're home against Seattle, they're at Arizona, they're home against Baltimore on Christmas Day, they're at Washington, and they're home against the Rams.
That's 4-1 at the very least.
Which is the one?
Ravens.
See, I don't even think I think they win that one. I mean, Baltimore's got to go all the way across country on Christmas. I mean, the day before Christmas, but I mean that's
what I'm saying. That's 4-1 at the very least. That might be 5-0.
And
I don't see a loss in there.
And then Philly. Let's just see what Philly has.
Philly's got cupcakes.
They have absolute cupcakes. Home against the Giants.
Win.
Home against the Cardinals.
Win.
At the Giants.
Win.
Come on. Who does that schedule?
Well, look at their
Giants. 2 out of 3.
Look at their past 5 weeks.
And then at Seattle.
Win.
Well, you got to hope Seattle. You got to hope that maybe. But at that point, is Seattle done?
Maybe Seattle's battling for a playoff spot at that point. But their last. I mean, this is the end of their hard schedule right now.
Yeah.
This is the end of their 5-game streak where they played Dallas twice, they played the Bills, they played the Chiefs, and they played the Niners. And they're going to come out of it at least 3-2, if not 4-1, if they win this weekend.
And then for Dallas, you have home to this week against Philly, and then you go at Baltimore, at Miami, home against Detroit, at Washington.
Win.
That's a win. So you got them going 3-2 at best.
I think they win this weekend. I think they lose one of the, let's call it one of the two, at Ravens at Bills or at Miami, and then I think they win the last.
So this is where I think that things is still a head scratcher for me. Is hey, they're better at home. Hey, they're this. Hey, they're that. They got to get the 1 seed, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, right? And I agree with everything you said. The reason that I think that they need all of that is because they can't run the football. They don't have a guy that they can run the ball on first down, second down, third down, and run out of the clock, except their quarterback. And they're not going to do that. And as great as Dak has been, nobody, even the biggest Dak supporters, can't tell me that they absolutely trust him with 2 minutes to go in the game, and you're trying to run out of clock with a 6-point lead.
Well, let's ask you. You're that person.
No, I don't. I just told you I don't trust that. And this is why I don't understand. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying this. I don't understand why Jerry did not do something at the trade deadline to get a Derrick Henry or a Derrick Henry type back. Somebody who's like, oh my God. And if it's like, well, David, you needed to give up a first-round pick. Okay. But what are you saving your rainy day fund for? At this point, you look at this and you say, I don't know if this is their best shot, but they have a really good shot to get to the Super Bowl this year in relation to everything else, because you don't know. You got Brock Purdy as the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, and as good as he's been, he's still Brock Purdy. You have what most believe to be an injured Jalen Hurts playing quarterback at the Eagles, right? And then that's it. That's all you have in the NFC. And then in the AFC, you have a Chiefs team that looks mortal. You have a Dolphins team that, hey, one day they could score 70, and one day they could score maybe 10, right?
70. Ouch.
And then what else do you have? You have a Baltimore team that's pretty good. So what are you waiting for? And then going forward, you got to pay CD, you got to pay Micah. Like, at some point, Jerry, you got to go all in like it's the 90s.
I think that's the frustration, right, from fans, is that they refuse to go all in despite him saying that he is all in. Like, they keep saying this is their best chance to win in the last 20 years. This is the best team they've had, yada, yada, yada. But then you don't see Jerry go for it. And that's kind of the frustration I'm hearing from you from fans across the state and across the country, is just like, let's freaking do this thing. If we're going to do it, let's do it. Let's push all your chips to the table, trade for someone that you need, trade for a Derrick Henry, trade for a linebacker that's going to be better than Marquise Bell.
What do you see? Why did Shaq Leonard pick the Eagles over Dallas?
Because the Eagles continue to sign people away from Dallas just because they don't want Dallas to have them.
Right. And that is exactly what happened in the 90s between the Niners and the Cowboys.
Yes.
My point is, my question is this, and I'm not getting an answer. Why did he choose them over Dallas? Dallas is the better defense. The defense coordinator's better.
He probably gave him less money. which is the frustration, right? I mean, like,
well, yes. For a team that's worth almost $10 billion, yes.
Why are you not paying him? Give him $4 million, give him $3 million, whatever you have left in the salary cap. I don't know what their salary cap situation is right now, but it's like 1 year, $2 million. The vet minimum is like 1.1, and that's what the Eagles gave him. Why is he choosing them over the Cowboys? Because the Cowboys just don't want to. They refuse to go and sign people that will make them better for some reason. For some reason, I don't know what it is, and I don't know what stick is up Jerry and Steven's butts, that they believe in this roster as currently constructed. They don't want to re-sign anybody. They don't want to sign anybody else.
Well, one of the reasons that is because they're being proven right in a lot of regards right now. So you look at some of the key points here as you go through the roster, and it's like, well, they were right. They were right in the sense that Dak Prescott can be a franchise quarterback, when a lot of folks the last couple of years were like, you got to bail on him. They were right in letting Dalton Schultz walk, even though most people were like, what are you doing? He's a security blanket. Well, they found a stud in Jake Ferguson.
Yep.
They were right in the fact of, hey, you know what? We think Tony Pollard can sort of handle whatever, but they were wrong in the idea of they need a third down back, and they don't have it.
Well, I think they have a third down back. They don't have a first and second down back. I think they were completely wrong with Tony Pollard. I think we were all wrong with Tony Pollard. We saw Tony Pollard last year's that change of pace back. We were like, yeah, let's give him 350 carries. Let's give him 300 carries in a year, and let's see how explosive he can be, have that explosion on every single down. We're not getting that right now. We're getting 3 yards in a cloud of dust football, which is not Tony Pollard's game. They needed I know you're going to hate when I say this, they needed the Zeke from last year. They need somebody. They need
for sure.
They need a Derrick Henry. They just need somebody who can run it up someone's butt, and they can kind of ride and then put Tony Pollard as that change of pace back, the quick guy, the guy that, not the gadget guy like a Deuce Vaughn or whatever, but they need somebody who can take the load off of Tony Pollard, because Tony Pollard doesn't have enough lead in his ass to actually do that.
Well, they were hoping for a cheaper version of Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, he's not that.
And he's not that. And I think in my looking at the season back in August, this is where I was most wrong. I thought their running back room was a strong suit. I thought with Pollard, with Rico, and with Deuce, I was like, wow, they check a lot of different boxes. And Deuce can't get on the field.
No.
And I don't know why they don't play Rico more. I would play Rico more, but maybe they don't trust Rico to pass block.
Well, I don't know why they don't go into two-back situations more often. Like, why not have Rico and Tony in a two-back situation in the shotgun while you're in maybe like 20 personnel, and you're putting two backs in, and you put three receivers, or put 21 personnel and put split Ferguson out. But like, I just don't understand why they don't go two backs more. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But let's move on to the Spurs. Before I move on to the Spurs real quick, because I know you got to go. You have another show to do. Prediction for this weekend.
Man. So
the spread is 3.5 for the Cowboys. Just to put it into perspective, the spread is Cowboys are favored 3.5. Over under is 51.5.
So I have a real bad feeling.
Do you really?
Yeah. Like I am not that guy, and I think it's because I hate Philly so much, and it's just just scared of the inevitable in my mind. My son, I love watching football now with my 14-year-old son, because he asks me who's become the biggest Cowboys fan. And he's always like, well, what do you think? The game's about starting. Well, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I think Dallas is going to lose. And it doesn't matter who they are. I'm like, I think Dallas is going to lose. He's like, you say that every week. Come on, man. I asked him the other day, I said, what do you think? And he thinks Cowboys 27-24. So
Cowboys 27-24. So
without playing the jinx card, I'm going to go with the Luke Chancellor prediction there.
I think Luke's smart. I'm thinking somewhere around 28, 21,
that'd be amazing.
34, 28, something like that, in the 6 to 7 point range. Because if you remember last year, the game in Dallas was on Christmas Eve. It was the Gardner Minshew game. Gardner almost came back and won that game for them, and they were without Jalen Hurts obviously that game. Dak played really well. The defense played like crap, and you ended up winning the game close. So I think that the offense gets theirs this week. I am a little concerned. One thing we didn't talk about was I'm a little concerned about Mike McCarthy.
I don't see that.
Well, it's the continuity of it, and everything that they've done so far this year is.
He's going to be there.
Well, but is he going to be like 100%? Are they going to have gotten the communication down? Are they going to have gotten the signals down? Brian Schottenheimer is good and all, but like, is McCarthy going to be on the sideline? Is he going to be in the booth? We don't know. Like, if you're going to have an appendectomy or an appendicitis or whatever you got, acute appendicitis,
you got to play hurt, bro. Just suck it up. He's asking guys to go out there with hurt ankles. But
let me ask you this: if someone gets tackled into him and he just came from acute appendicitis, like,
where's the Cowboys' Dom? They need their own Dom to stand in front of him and protect him. They need that guy. By the way, that was the biggest joke. That right there, that's Philly. That's Philly. Jeez, get off the sideline, jerk.
All right, we're both horrendously biased in our predictions this week, because I really want the Cowboys to win, because that means that I get to go to Buffalo next week. So,
okay.
So, all right, let's go Cowboys.
All right, go Cowboys. Go Cowboys. Buffalo's going to be about 3 below. Yes.
Yeah.
You're cool with that?
Well, yeah.
Right.
I was wondering why Chuck said I could go, because he was going to go.
Yeah.
And then I was like, so you're good if I go to Buffalo?
Matt,
He's like, yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds great. All right, let's get to the Spurs real quick. So the Spurs suck. They've lost 15 in a row, which almost matches last year's 16 in a row. They are going for 16, and I don't even know if they're going for a win tonight. If they're going for 16 in a row, like, at this point, just break the record. The only reason that people aren't talking about them more is because the Pistons are worse.
Yeah,
the Pistons have lost 18 in a row. So
comical.
Yeah, it's horrendously bad. Neither team has won a game in over a month. So it's just like,
are they trying to win?
I don't know, but that's the freaking frustrating part, is that all off season long, they were like, we're trying to win this year. We're going to win this year. Winning's more important. Development's important, but winning's more important. And now here we are, 15-game losing streak in, 20 games overall, and they freaking suck. They are the worst defense I've ever seen besides the Pacers, who have one of the best players on earth right now in Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a conversation for another day. But they have the worst defense. They are worse with Wemby on the court, and I don't get it.
Well, it's not him.
It's not. Well, is it though?
Yeah, I mean, listen.
His numbers are fine, but his plus minus is horrendous. His effort on defense isn't great until the fourth quarter, and by the fourth quarter, they're already gone. They're already done. They're literally better without him on the court because they actually have some continuity.
I have a hard time blaming him for anything in the idea of all the things that he's going through, and yet I didn't think Chet should have gotten Rookie of the Month.
Well, his numbers are great.
His numbers are great, and those
Wemmy's
numbers
are great.
Yeah. By the way, so are Chet's.
Yeah, Chet's good,
but and Chet is good, but so is Victor. I mean, this is an old take. They need a grown up in the room who's not their coach. They need a guy out there. I don't understand why Trey Jones doesn't start. I don't understand that. I don't understand why it's who wants to play point guard tonight. I don't get that. Obviously, they know something that we don't.
They actually didn't start Jeremy on Wednesday, which was impressive.
Correct.
They started Chetty instead.
Right. Why aren't you starting the real point guard?
Right.
I don't. And again, I guess that's something I don't know.
It's just like it feels like a big old experiment. It just the whole team.
It does feel like
a big experiment right now, where they're like, "Oh, that didn't work. Let's plug this one into here. Let's try this. Let's try this combination. Give me your beaker. Let me try a little bit there." And it's just like, why?
So here's the crappy part about that, and that's this. That's cool, and I would have been really cool with that and understand that as a fan, but as a consumer. You sold me on, hey, come see the next big thing. Hey, come experience the next era of Spurs basketball. Okay, well, to me, that means winning. And your prices and your merchandise and everything that you're selling me, you're asking me to commit to the next era. But what are you committing to? My son and I have tickets to go see Spurs and Lakers next Friday night. And when I'm going on Wednesday. When I say Spurs and Lakers, I'm saying I bought tickets. I know that's a risk.
To see LeBron.
But I want to see Wemby and LeBron. And if I don't, hell have no fury.
We'll both come on here on Monday. If I don't see both of them on Wednesday, or you don't see both of them on Friday, we're rioting.
Well, both of us. One of us is going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
There's no way we're going to see that. So let me ask you this.
I want to flip a coin.
Let me ask you this. Who do you want to? Have you ever seen LeBron in person?
I have.
Okay, so my son is not. He obviously hasn't seen Wemby in person either. And I assume LeBron's not done. So this wouldn't be Luke's last time to see him in person. But if you were going to see somebody as a fan who doesn't go, right? You go. But as a fan who doesn't go, who are you hoping to see?
I think at this point you're hoping to see LeBron more than Wemby, just because this might be the last chance
Yeah.
you get. I mean, Wemby we think is going to be around for 10, 15 years, even if he...
Oh, God, he better be.
God, we hope so.
Jesus,
at this point, I don't really hope so, because they suck. But... I'm off the bandwagon. 20 games in, guys. This is really bad.
I mean, man, where's your conviction?
It's out the freaking window, guys.
They got a bunch of 19-year-olds out there.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, they suck though. They're so bad. They're so bad. Like, they're worse than anybody could have imagined. I
can't believe that a month ago I would schedule my Friday nights and Saturday nights.
This was not a month ago. This was like 2 weeks ago. This 2 weeks ago, you were like, "Yeah, we watched the game last night. We ordered pizza.
This is what we're doing tonight. We're watching the Spurs." And my wife would roll her eyes like, "Really? It's November."
I think now, if you told Aubrey, you're like, "Yeah, we're watching the Spurs tonight," she'd be like, "Why? Are you sure? Do you really want that?"
Anyway, I need Wemby and LeBron next week. I was watching with bated breath to find out when Bronny. I've all of a sudden become a Bronny fan of. Please just play at USC so LeBron makes the trip.
Yeah, I literally bought tickets to the game like 45 minutes ago for next Wednesday, and because I've been waiting to see how long the losing streak goes. Because the longer the losing streak goes, the cheaper the tickets go.
Oh, did you get a good deal?
So yeah, they were all right. It was like I think we played like $50 each. It's not too bad.
Wow. Well, I bought mine a while back, and they were not $50 each. So don't I feel like a dumbass?
Oh, sorry. But anyway, I think we both agree that they suck, and I think we both agree that the Cowboys are going to win, even though.
Man, I hope so.
Yeah, that would suck. Anyway, that's all we got. You gonna have a good weekend? You got any plans?
Yeah, we're throwing a Christmas party for my son's select basketball team, and he's got a middle school game tomorrow morning. Redemption. Yeah, it's the Redemption tour starts Saturday for the Alamo Heights Junior High School 8th grade Mules.
All right, well, 8th grade Mules, let's go. That's can't miss TV.
Dude, let me tell you what. In my world, it's twice as big as Cowboys Eagles.
Absolutely.
I mean,
100%.
It is.
That's how you know
weekend.
David Chancellor's a good dad.
I will for the Mules to win tomorrow. I'll give you every Cowboys loss from here to the rest of the season.
Damn. See, big win. Well, you thought the Cowboys-Eagles game was the biggest game of the weekend.
It's not. It's Alamo Heights Junior School against Davenport Middle School.
All right, well, I'm going to do this outro without my notes. So thank you for watching the Sneakers Cleats podcast, watching or listening. You can download us wherever you get your podcast, and on YouTube, give us a 5-star rating, rate, download, subscribe, review, all of those things. Like I said, doing this out my notes. So you think I've done this 58 times
It sounds good.
Anyway, we will be back on Monday with Chuck and Don. Zach is off next week, so Chuck and Don will be with me on Monday, and we will be back Wednesday after that. Everybody have a good weekend. Go Cowboys, go Broncos, and go Junior Varsity Mules.
Yeah, junior high school.
Junior high school Mules, excuse me. Good luck, Luke.